wherever you like, wherever you prefer. Really? I was gonna say that. Sit next to me. You can sit on the mic if you want. She's a little gassy this morning, folks.
And finally, without further ado, we've got this guy. Let's give it up for Stephen Yeun. And he promises to be here as soon as he's done with the bathroom. So.
He also is a little gassy as well.
Hey, what did you guys eat this morning?
Those breakfast burritos you guys gave us were just a little much, I guess. Well, thank you very much, Tony, for having us. 10 years ago, I did the Fangoria's Weekend of Horrors in this very place, which, as a horror fan, you have some toilet paper stuck to your shoe.
I'm so sorry.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, everybody has to hear.
Love you, Steven!
Oh, thanks. I love you too.
It's funny, that's what I said every day on set. Every day he'd come on set, I would be in the background like, "Love you, Steven!" He'd be like, "Shut up. Please."
This is all true.
So Joe, tell us the log line on the movie. What's Mayhem all
So this
about?
is the elevator pitch time? This is the
Yeah,
part where
yeah.
I'm supposed to get you guys really excited about the movie? All I have to do is go. That's all. Mayhem is horror, thriller, action, comedy, satire, sci-fi. There's some there in there. It's a bit of a mashup of all these different genres, of all genres that I love. And the movie's about this dangerous virus that inhibits people from their inhibitions. That's the worst logline ever. No, it's about this dangerous virus that makes people lose their inhibitions. So, you know, all those things that we kind of hold at bay, that we repress. What happens if this virus says, "Go with God, go for it"? So all those things that you've been holding up, you know, in like deep down that you've been kind of repressing, is suddenly now released. What happens when said virus gets released in a law firm? That's all I have to say. Come on, who doesn't want to see lawyers beat the fuck out of each other? By the way, this is a not safe for work environment, so if anyone has any problems with F-bombs or really bad dad jokes, leave now, especially with the clip that we have coming up. When I was pulling a clip for this, I was very aware, like, you know, there's kids here. You know, this is a family experience, as it should. Monsterpalooza should be a family experience for everybody. And you're all twisted family, but a family nonetheless. But trying to find a clip that doesn't have cursing in it, there are no clips without copious amounts of cursing in it. So if you're sensitive to that sort of thing, you might want to wait for the airplane version, which is a lot of fracks and farts instead of farts. But yeah, so essentially the movie's about this dangerous virus that is released in this law firm. Steven plays a lawyer. He's so much of his character that I just keep calling him Derek. But Steven plays this character who's a lawyer. Sam is a disgruntled client of the firm. Both of them have been kind of wronged earlier on in the day, and just as they're about to get kicked out, respectively, this virus shows up and a quarantine goes up in the building, and they have 8 hours. The virus lasts, it's a temporary virus, very convenient temporary virus, that makes people stuck in this quarantine for 8 hours. What happens? And Derek had just been fired, so now, because he's got this virus, everybody's infected, he decides, I'm gonna go talk to the boss. And essentially, it's his ascent up to the top, and the wild things that you do along the way. So there you go.
Yeah. That was a long line.
I'm a long dude.
Enter the pitch room.
Sorry.
You were a long dude.
I'm a long dude. Yeah.
Make sure
You took it. You took that context. You took that context. That's all you. She's dirty mind. Anyway.
So what is it about Office Towers this year? This is the second major genre film where things go crazy in an office tower. Belko Experiment was the first one out earlier this year. You know, what is it about that environment that's prompting such sheer terror these days?
I think it's a sign of the times. You know, I think we're entering this new subgenre of worksploitation. Right? Like, hashtag the shit out of that, let's make that happen. There's also another movie coming out soon called Office Uprising, that's kind of the similar themes.
Really?
Yeah, I think this is a product of our environment and our culture, and, you know, can I get a show of hands? How many people work a corporate job? Oh, all of you are gonna love the fuck out of this movie. You're gonna get a lot of aggression out. But there is something in this culture right now where people want to kind of rage against the machine a little bit, and the fact that there are so many people who work these jobs, look, as filmmakers, you want to tell stories that people can relate to in one form or another. And when I got this script, I was working a corporate job. So when this script came to me, I was like, I know this. This is me, you know. And of course, the first person I think of to play me is Steven, you know. But it really was something where I think Belko and this film and the other movies that are kind of working in this world are just kind of painting a picture and taking a mirror to what our society is right now and where we are. And a lot of times I think it's kind of a response to passive aggression in a way, how people can't be honest with each other, and especially in a work environment where you need to get 17 approvals on an email just to make a decision, or you don't get fired, you get fired through email from someone who got hired by someone who got hired by someone. The whole chain of events sucks, and this movie, I think, is a definite response to that. Having just seen Belko as well, it's very much the same, you know.
Steven and Samara, what were your reactions when you first read the screenplay, and what attracted you to this project?
I was like, what the fuck?
Fair response.
Who wrote this?
Funny enough, Matias Caruso, who wrote it, is from Chile, and like the thing that we were always concerned about is we wanted to make sure that this was something about America, and then here comes this script from a guy that doesn't live in America, but it tapped into the same kind of fears and the same aggression and the same kind of themes that I think are universal in a way. So yeah, and with that, then you read it and you went, this is fucked up, and then you went like, someone responsible at least would be behind this as the director.
Yeah, well,
Hopefully.
I mean, I always am drawn to things that make me scared. So I was like, oh, I'm afraid to play this person because I couldn't imagine how it was going to go. So I was drawn to it because I was scared of it.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, let's get a challenge.
And you crushed
That'll
it,
be
yeah.
good.
That was so
I'll
cool.
try.
You nail gunned it.
Hey!
You'll know what I mean in a couple minutes, trust
That
me.
nail gun was the bane of my existence. My right arm didn't match my left arm.
You were like Freddie Rodriguez in the girl that was the lady in the water, the M. Night Shyamalan movie where he's just got one big arm. That fucking nail gun was really,
Yeah.
really heavy, and you're having to like, look at that. Like she had to do that for half the movie, and you could tell like it was starting to fall a little bit. But
Wait, look at that. That's shit.
No, it's pathetic.
What are you talking about? I've just felt it. That's for sure.
this happens every day on set. Every day.
Yeah.
Put these two together, and you're face swapping on Snapchat all the time, and did you guys see that video? That was weird.
It was a really good time. I think, personally, what drew me to the script is like, just this feeling of, I don't know, I just wanted to purge some anger. The first iteration of this script was called Rage. And, spoiler or Easter egg, I don't know. But that part of me really drew me to it because, I feel like we all kind of grow up in a situation where we make a lot of concessions of who we actually are because we have to follow the rules or we have to do the thing that someone expects us to do. And then by the time you're at like 30, all of a sudden like you're not who you thought you were, but there's this thing inside that you want to like get out. And so for me, I was like, cool, I get to be like angry for a month. That sounds great. Like, I'm down.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah. Let's go to Serbia and be
Yeah.
angry together for a month.
Yeah.
That's gonna be great.
Terrible idea. Oh, God.
Shit.
Well, Steven and Samara, you're no stranger to blood and guts roles. Samara, Ash vs. Evil Dead. Steven, you were in this little show called The Walking Dead. How did the mayhem and mayhem compare to what you were accustomed to?
We went for it.
Just went for it.
Yeah. My favorite, can I tell that scene?
I don't know which
Okay,
one you're talking about.
there's
Fuck
a-
it, just do it.
There's a scene where Sam and I had to spit on each other. And it was gross, but what was so gross because I would never want to. Who's gonna spit on our face? Like, but
Wouldn't, right?
also it was also like we're both so game that you're like, cool, like I'm gonna fucking spit on you now. So.
Yeah. No, you can't fake spit. Like, there's no way
You
to get
can't fix
around
that in
it.
post. You can't go like, and then expect
No.
someone's gonna put that in CG.
So we just spat on each other for like 2 hours.
That's pretty good.
It's ridiculous.
Don't stop looking at me like
What do you think
that.
I'm doing?
It is my fault. I was like, all right, now you're gonna.
It's
And
true.
it was so like it was a very casual moment too when we were blocking. Like, okay, so you guys are gonna be right here, and you had just gotten up, and then you're gonna spit on her, and she's gonna spit on you, and then they're like, wait, like, really? We're actually doing that? I'm like, yeah, it's in the script. And then you're gonna beat the shit out of each other over and over again. Part of it with that scene was to kind of put them on an even keel, like. There was a screening that we did recently where someone had commented, it's like, how dare you have Steven punch Samara? I'm like, did you see what she did to him like 5 seconds earlier? It's like, why not? Like, and especially with this virus, we could get away with whatever we wanted because you can go, it's the virus. I'm just gonna get a T-shirt of that for everybody. It's like, you know, it's the virus. Whoopsies. But like having that construct and having that kind of device in the movie allowed us to basically say like, you guys want to take it? You can take it to 11 every day.
Yeah.
Like that trope
It was
itself.
really good therapy, actually.
It very much
Yeah,
was.
that's what I was trying to say. Angry for a month.
Oh,
Yeah. Therapy.
therapy.
Like purge that from my system. You know what I'm saying?
So there's some other exciting people in the cast of this film. Joe, tell us about some of their co-stars.
Yeah, I mean, you know, one of the things that's so important about any film is making sure that kind of your ensemble is strong across the board, no weak links. And like I mentioned before, we shot this movie in lovely Belgrade, Serbia, which hopefully if you watch the movie you won't know that, but I've now spoiled it for all of you, so sorry. But I'd done Everly there, and it was such a great experience. The crews were great, like, you know, the environment was really conducive to be making movies. Everyone there is excited to make movies. Like, you make a movie in LA, and it's usually like, all right, so there's a light stand there, and a guy comes over and goes like, I'm going to lunch, that's it, you know. Whereas in Serbia, they'll go, so sir, do you want this light? Would you like it over here? Well, how about right here? Would you like it? Oh, are you trying to go for like a Citizen Kane thing? Let's go down here. And you're like, this is the PA.
What accent was that?
Well, I don't know. It's the best I can do. But they're so passionate about making movies there, and it just fuels everybody's day, you know. And it was just so much fun to kind of let these guys loose, but also having such a great supporting cast. Any Teen Wolf fans out there? The TV show. So Stephen Brand, who played the Doctor in that, is our big boss. Dallas Roberts from The Walking Dead, and also from this great movie, The Grey. Joe Carnahan's The Grey. He plays the head of HR. Caroline Chikisi, she was also in Everly, plays another kind of higher up on the ranks. So we were really lucky where we just had, because we were shooting in Serbia, there's like our talent pool had to stay in Europe and London and in that kind of area. And we just got lucky where it was kind of like the right place at the right time for a lot of these actors, and they were all totally game, you know. Another thing too is, you know, everyone's got to be on the same wavelength tonally. You know, this movie, I don't think people realize how funny the movie is, and I'm not just saying that to my own horn. It's like we deliberately designed this to have enough sugar to make the medicine go down, so it didn't come off mean-spirited. I mean, that's also a testament to these guys, where, you know, take, you know, the charming, you know, personalities that we have here and put 2 other actors in who might not get that stuff. I don't think it would have been the same movie. I think it would have been something a little bit more serious and mean, and that wasn't the movie we were trying to make. So everybody had to kind of be tonally on that same page, and that was anchored by these 2. So really, it's like Steven and Samara set the pace every day, and all the other actors looked to them and saw like, oh, okay, so we're supposed to have fun here. Nope, this is supposed to be a more serious moment, and it really helped every day. But thanks to these guys.
Oh, thanks to you all.
Do the actors have any anecdotes about working with Joe? And
Watch what you say.
Joe's great. I think Joe, for how potentially difficult the situations were, you know, we made this with a specific budget, and we made it in a foreign country, and we made it with certain limitations, which all films have, but Joe somehow kept his cool the whole way. Like, I probably would have punched out like a ton of people by the end of the thing, but I didn't direct it, so you were great, you know. And in that way, he was really welcoming and opened up a collaborative atmosphere, and we were able to take a film that probably a lesser director would have not taken seriously, and surprisingly, we took it very seriously. And I think that's kind of the thing that permeates through the thing, is we might have had limitations here and there with whatever, because that's the difficulty of making a movie, but the one thing that's always there is like everybody put their heart into it and they took it really serious. So
yeah, and also because you're working in a foreign country, we didn't know anybody, so we sort of had to become each other's family for a month, you know, and I think that really brings out really your true colors, and you all get to know each other really well, and I think that really helped with the final product.
Yeah, like with the time that we watched The Hateful Eight, it took 8 hours to watch The Hateful Eight. Like, we would have movie nights on Saturdays, and the guys would come over and we would watch movies and stuff. And one time Sam came over and she's like, I've never seen The Hateful Eight. I'm like, what? So we sat down, and watching that movie with Sam, because every 10 minutes she'd be like, pause. All right, now I need to talk about this shot. I'm like, whoa, fuck, she's not fucking around here. And the discussions that Steven and I would have, again, we went above and beyond in terms of like what we wanted to kind of put in the movie, that I think other people might have just been like, doesn't matter, like we're giving them the blood and the guts, and you know, and there's some action stuff in there, like let's just move. But Steven kept me on my toes every single day by asking questions. And that doesn't happen a lot with actors, you know, like sometimes they just like, look dude, I know my lines, show me where I need to be, where's the camera, let's do this. And both these guys were constantly making sure that I was like on it and that I was on point, because like I said before, like I had worked this type of job and I related completely to what they were going through. So for me, I went like, I can answer all these questions, but Steven pushed me and said, think deeper, like think about like what it's like in that culture and what it's like to be like that in his shoes and in Samara's shoes. And just that collaborative effort, I just, sorry, I'm gonna get a little mushy here, I just fucking fell in love with these guys. I really did, to the point that I actually did the most egregious thing that you can possibly do as a director. I put myself in the fucking movie just so that I can hang out with them a little more. It's totally true. That, and also we ran out of English-speaking people in the country. It's totally true. There's a scene that calls for an IT guy. And you know, the first thing you think of IT guy, you think of me. But we just had to find someone for it, and we couldn't have someone with a foreign accent. It would have broken down the illusion. So we scoured for every possible person that could do it, and I was reading in the auditions, and we just couldn't find anybody. And my producer Matt was just like, "Why don't you do it?" I'm like, "Dude, the last thing that I just want to make my days. I don't want to deal with trying to rehearse lines and get my beats down. Like, because if I was going to do it, I needed to act against these two who are powerhouses. I didn't want to screw it up. So I just kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off, and then like 2 days or 3 days before, I just went fine, and I grew a really long beard at the time, and then and all of a sudden I showed up on set with this porn stash, and everyone's just like, what? Well, when you see the movie, you'll get it. But really, deep down in my heart, it was so that I could spend more time with them, because you really, like, you bond when you're making a movie. Hopefully, if all goes well, you really do become a family. And watching these two every day challenge each other in set, and then when the cameras would go off and they would just hang out and be friends, and I was like, I want to hang out too, and that's really kind of where that came from. But without that kind of chemistry, we would have never been able to make this movie at all. Because I've been there in situations where you and the lead are not simpatico, and it makes the experience so much more difficult, and ultimately hurts the movie.
Hey, would you folks like a taste of mayhem?